Hi everyone, my name is Noah, and I'm an aspiring Unreal Engine game developer. I'm brand new to the field, but I just recently created my first game in about 10 weeks. It's your standard run-of-the-mill first-person zombie shooter. So in that 10 weeks, I learned how to make levels, work with materials, character animations, and of course, anyways, I didn't really track my progress for that project, so I wanted to make a devlog for my next project. I'm making a first-person roguelike platforming game heavily inspired by Ghost Runner in terms of gameplay and Mirror's Edge in terms of visuals. You'll play as a cyborg, robot, android, whatever you want to call it type of character, who just mysteriously gained self-awareness and tries to escape the dystopian, futuristic city he's woken up in. I'd like the game to have 5 different levels with unique environments, and as you can see from my level prototype sketch, clearly I'm not a game artist for a reason, you start on the ground level of the city, work your way to the rooftops, fight through an office of a building, fall into the sewers, then cross a bridge out of the city. So this week, I started by making a prototype for the first level, where you play on the ground levels of the city streets. I started by making a basic level layout. I knew I wanted to create large, looming structures around the player that feel suffocating, giving the player a reason to want to escape them. So big box go here, big box go there. As I said earlier, I am not an artist. I have Blender downloaded, but I don't know how to use it. Yet. But we live in a lovely time where solo game developers have easy access to free, beautiful 3D assets via Megascans and Quixel Bridge, the Epic Games Marketplace, Sketchfab, I can go on. So I grabbed a modular buildings pack from Epic Games and edited the buildings to match the style I'm going for. Scary, big, white buildings. I slapped those buildings into my level, stacked them on top of each other to make them bigger to enhance that scary sense of scale, created a road using that same pack, and duplicated the small city I had a couple times to make the playable area bigger. Now that I had my main buildings in place, I went on the hunt for cool, free assets to make my level look even better. Those plain white rectangles in the background didn't quite cut it as buildings. I got background buildings, character models, a sci-fi train, and construction assets like power tools, lights, and cranes from Sketchfab, and I also went to Mixamo to grab some cool robot-looking characters who I may or may not use as enemies and NPCs in the final game. I replaced those white background rectangles with the background buildings I got from Sketchfab and surrounded my small city level with them. After playing around with some fog, I think that the view from the city center is looking pretty ominous. Next, I surrounded the sides of the city with trains. I like trains. To make the trains move, I made a looping animation using blueprints. You can see them spawn in and out for now, but I'll fix that later. I also had some fun riding the trains. Maybe that should be a playable feature in the game. Now, I don't want the player to be able to leave the bounds of the city, so I decided to create an out-of-bounds barrier. I made a road closed sign. I used my super incredible advanced Photoshop skills to make some white text on a black background so I could create a masked hologram-like material, maintaining that futuristic vibe we're going for. I started with construction zone first, but later decided on road closed. The beauty is that if I want to change the text, all I have to do is change it in Photoshop and re-export, and Unreal Engine will prompt me to re-import the file, and then it'll automatically update. Then I updated the color of the street signs to orange, but then I changed them to white. For now, I've decided that orange will be the color to look out for as the player. That color will lead you to progress through the level, much like red in Mirror's Edge and yellow in the Resident Evil 4 remake. That game has no relevance here, I just like it a lot. I swear it's not my desktop background or anything. Next, I made a very basic construction zone that the player will start in. The idea is that the player character is a construction android who gains self-awareness, Detroit Become Human style, thus the construction zone. Looks good for now. I wanted to create a way for the player to gain higher ground. This is a parkour game after all. So, I decided on adding cranes carrying shipping containers over the street. I edited the texture of the crane in Photoshop a bit to get rid of the red and green. I slapped a shipping container on the hanging spreader mesh part of the crane and bing bada boom, we got ourselves a crane. I'll make the crane lower down to street level and rise back up so that the player has a way to get up high initially. For the parkour mechanics, I'm thinking of wall running and ledge mantling. I'll tackle wall running from a level design standpoint first by creating flat billboards that the player can bounce between to get from one shipping container to the other. So I made a basic billboard that I definitely will be editing in a future devlog because I'm exhausted and I'm done for this week. So that's my progress for this week. I'm liking how the city's looking so far, but there's still a lot to be done. My working title for the game is Breakaway System Malfunction. Let me know if you love it or hate it. So if you liked the video and you want to see what I do next, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.